Hi, I'm Andrew Foltz, Realtor here in Sarasota, Florida. If you're thinking about buying a home in the Sarasota or Manatee County area, this video is going to save you a lot of time and help you prepare yourself for the buying process in our area. So before I ever show a buyer their first house, we always have the same conversation. And today I'm going to walk you through exactly what we talk about so you know what to expect before you ever start your home search. So let's start with the first thing that I always talk about is location. And honestly, that's going to be the most important conversation that we have because a lot of times buyers call me, they say, I want to be in Sarasota or I'm looking Manatee County somewhere. That's a great place to start, but those are big areas and there's areas within those areas. And obviously living on Siesta Key is completely different than living in Lakewood Ranch, and maybe you're considering Parrish or Venice or Palmer Ranch or Waterside. So every one of those communities feels different. So before we ever start looking at homes, I want to understand your lifestyle and, do you picture walking to restaurants? Do you need to be close to the beach? Are you someone you'd rather have a newer home with amenities, or do you want an established neighborhood with big mature trees? Are you commuting? Are you still working? How important is that? Do you have children? Do schools matter? Do you have family here? Do you want to be close to family? And those are the conversations that can help narrow down where we actually should be looking. And in fact, a lot of times I work with buyers, they're considering one area, we talk through their lifestyle, and then all of a sudden a totally different area or community makes sense. So before you fall in love with the house itself, fall in love with the location first, because obviously you can't move the neighborhood. So once you figured out where you'd like to live, the next conversation is going to be about price and not necessarily purchase price. Usually I ask the buyers what monthly payment they're comfortable with, because that's what you're actually going to live with every month. Just because a lender approves you for a certain amount doesn't necessarily mean that's what you should be looking up to. And I want to make sure that you're comfortable with your payment. Just remember, the mortgage isn't your only expense, because there's homeowners insurance, there's property taxes in our area of Florida, HOA fees, CDD fees, they're all going to become part of your monthly housing expenses. So before we start shopping, I want you to understand the entire financial picture. All right, so now that we've talked about that, something just as important, I'm very curious, what's your motivation? Why are you buying? Are you relocating? What's bringing you down to the area? Are you a renter? Do you need more space? Are you downsizing? Is this going to be a primary home? Is this going to be a second home, a third home, an investment property? And that answer is going to change how we approach your search, because someone relocating here next month is going to have a very different strategy than someone thinking about retiring, maybe moving here next year. So understanding those things definitely helps me guide you a lot better. And then next, we're going to talk about selecting the realtor. Hopefully it's me. Some people have worked with many different agents, but you need to select one. It's a really big decision. You're buying a house. You need to have one person in your corner, a trusted advisor, guiding you through the entire process. And, a realtor does more than just unlock doors. A good one, they're evaluating, negotiating, explaining the inspections, coordinating with lenders, keeping everything on track, helping you avoid expensive mistakes. So speaking of lender, let's talk about financing, because you need to speak with a lender first if you're not paying cash. Get your pre-approval. We need that when it's time to make an offer, and we want to have everything in place. Of course, if you don't have a lender, I'm happy to provide you recommendation and introduce you. And also, don't automatically assume you need 20% down. That's kind of a misconception. There's a lot of loan programs out there where you can have a variety of options, and the lender's going to be that's the best way to figure out what your options are. So now that your offer gets accepted, a lot of buyers think they're done. In reality, it's kind of just the beginning. So we'll schedule your inspections, then we'll review them. We'll work through any negotiations that come up from those inspections, figure out the appraisal, make sure that's on track, coordinate with the closing company, make sure every deadline is satisfied before closing. There's a lot of moving pieces, and my job is to keep everything organized, communicate with everyone, help make the process stress-free, so that everybody's always going to be happy. And also, I tell buyers, don't expect you're going to have to look at 50 homes before making a decision. Maybe that was common many years ago, but you've probably already looked at a ton online before we even ever meet. So usually we're really narrowed down and just focusing on the best options. And then the right house comes along. You're going to know. Doesn't mean that you need to rush, but it just means that you're prepared, because no matter what the market is, the best homes don't stay on the market very long. So again, having the financing in place, knowing exactly what you're looking for, you're going to make a confident decision when the right opportunity comes along. So also, I think my design background really benefits buyers too, because when we walk through a home, I'm not just looking at paint colors and furniture. I'm looking at the floor plan and how the home functions. And is it going to be a house where renovations would actually add value in the future? Does it make sense for your long-term financial goals if you have, whatever they may be? And sometimes the house with the best photos doesn't look that good in person. Sometimes the one with the weird photos actually look great in person. So my job is help you look beyond those first impressions, make a smart decision. And obviously, the fun part, once we talked about all those technicalities that I had just mentioned. So now we're out there, we're looking at homes. We've already had the conversations. We're not wasting any time. And so we're looking at homes that actually fit your lifestyles and your goals and your budget. And again, when the right one comes along, you are ready to pounce. You're prepared, make a confident decision. And that's exactly how I start every one of my buyers out with that conversation. And not about finding the first house you like. It's about creating that plan first, because the better the plan, the smoother the entire process is going to be for you. So if you're thinking about buying a home anywhere in Sarasota or Manatee County, I'd love to have the same conversation with you. If you have a question about buying a home, leave it in the comments below. There's a good chance someone else might have the same question, and maybe it becomes a future video. So if you found this helpful, consider subscribing. I like to share practical advice for buyers and sellers in our area. So thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.